Children of I want to talk to your manager parents. What has been your most embarrassing experience? I was 13 when this happened. My mom had made a reservation at a hotel for a trip. But when she got there, the lady said there was some error with the reservation, and that my mom's payment didn't go through. So the lady offered us a double bed room for a discount, rather than just taking the room, thanking the lady, and leaving. My mom decided the best course of action would be to scream, in the middle of a hotel lobby, "Nobody is going anywhere till I get my ducking room." She then proceeded to pester the lady, who clearly couldn't do anything about it, until eventually she called the police on my mom for public disturbance. Mortifying. When I was a young child on a long-distance flight, my mother let me and my brother sleep on the floor. For safety reasons, the flight attendants told my mother that we were not allowed to sleep on the floor. She started to argue with the flight attendants, who then turned to the pilots. The pilots threatened to turn the plane around unless we get up from the floor, but she continued to argue. The pilots announced they were about to turn around because of my mother. So all the passengers got pissed. Eventually, she caved in when she had all passengers and flight crew 747 against her. Before Value Village Savers in the States, I think, changed policies. She would cut tags to get discounts since the cashiers would basically make up whatever price they thought it would be. On the spot, if they highballed it, she would get a manager involved, and I hated that. I was with my parents on vacation, and the hotel put charges on the bill by accident. My mom marched to the front desk and demanded to see the manager. There was a long line, but she cut right in front of it. The manager wasn't very helpful, probably because she was rude. So my mom went to all the other customers in line and told them that the hotel was a scam, and they were ripping us off with fake charges. She made a scene. The hotel called the police, and we were escorted off the premises by actual cops. I died inside. My mom asked me to call her a taxi via an app. She ended up calling me multiple times, complaining about how the driver didn't use the route she thought was best. She never owned a car and doesn't know how to drive, even though the guy just used the best possible route the navigator suggested. She ended up getting out halfway and using Subway. The driver proceeded to call me in tears, completely shocked, unsure of what he did so wrong, and apologizing. I felt like total **. I never called her a cab again. My dad just loved to argue, and he loved a deal. We were shopping in a department store, and I found a pair of pants I was mildly interested in. The pants were tagged at, let's say, $40, and the sign on the rack was all pants $25. I was mildly interested. I asked the sales clerk if they had them in my size. The clerk said those aren't supposed to be on that rack. My dad lost it and insisted on getting the pants for $25, and started asking for a courtesy discount on top of that. Escalated to the floor manager and the store manager. Meanwhile, I didn't want the pants. They were okay pants, I guess. Nothing awesome. I just didn't care very much about them. I was more than happy to move on. I told my dad I didn't want the pants. By then, he didn't care about what I wanted. He wanted the pants at the better price. Eventually, after like an hour of arguing, the store manager said, "We're not giving you the pants at that price. Take them or leave them at $40. So, we left them, which suited me just fine, because I didn't want the pants. I might be late, but my dad once asked the guy at the Verizon wireless store to give him his own social security number because he asked for my dad's. My dad walked out afterwards with some stranger's SS number on a post-it. I was a silent bystander because I really wanted my first phone. My father consistently returns food to grocery stores when he is unsatisfied with the quality. The worst is when he returns the 2-pound bricks of cheddar cheese because they went moldy before they should have. My mother is a nightmare with customer service. Even with the fact that her daughter works in customer service and deals with people like her on the daily, so many incidents stick out in my mind. But one that really embarrassed me was we were at Walmart. The stalker was struggling and dropped their price scanner thing on the ground. I was going to go help her gather her things she was struggling with, when my mom came out like a bat out of hell and yelled, "You know you should pick that up, people could trip," and then she darted off with the cart. I was so embarrassed I just walked away in shame. And when I pointed it out to my mom, the girl dropped it on accident. She said, well, she should be more careful. Okay. Right, so my mom and me went shopping, and she dropped a melon on the way out. She then claimed it was bruised and demanded a full refund. When she refused, she shouted at customer service and demanded the manager. I just sat there with a kill me now expression on my face. After, one of the customer service employees gave me a chocolate bar, so 7 Yomi was happy. Not me, but my sister-in-law. Her stepdad and mom took the family out to eat at a Red Lobster. They get there and it is super busy, so the stepdad walks up to the host and says yes. We have a reservation. The problem is Red Lobster, or at least that one doesn't take reservations. The host explains this and says it is going to be 20-minute wait for seating. Her stepdad flipped out and started screaming that he had called 3 hours beforehand and made a reservation. The host politely told him this was not possible, as they do not take reservations again. He continues to scream at the guy and says he wants to talk to a manager, so the manager comes out and she tells him the same thing. They don't take reservations, so it's not possible that he had made one. He continues to cause a scene and people started leaving just to get away from this toxic guy. Finally, the manager says, "Fine. We will put you ahead of everyone else that has been patiently waiting their turn." He says thank you. They get seated. Once they get to the table and the waitress walks away, he slyly winks and says to my brother and the rest of the family, that is how you get things done. I was going to wait 20 minutes. My brother refused to eat or order for fear of getting food that had been spit on. I worked at Best Buy. I stopped in with my mom one day because she wanted to buy me the Star Wars DVD box set. For my birthday, I had a huge crush on the girl that was working the customer service counter. Well, the DVD set rang up $10 more than it was priced, and my mom deliberately didn't say anything until after the transaction so she could claim the effing $5 Michigan skin law bounty. My crush didn't know how to process it and the manager was busy, so my mom tore into her about how it was her job and how she should understand how to do things at my job. To a girl I liked, my life was misery for a while afterward. My mom demanded to see a cafe's hygiene certificate when she saw an employee go from cutting cake in the kitchen to handling money at the till, even though the real problem is going the other way. Not my parent, but grandparent. When I was around 10 years old, my grandmother went out and got us, my brother, and me McDonald's. We got home and we didn't have napkins in the bags. No big deal. Right, we have paper towels and napkins in the house. Also, me and my brother are pretty good with not making any messes while we eat. Nope, grandmother got us in the car, drove back to McDonald's, demanded a manager, and screeched about how upset she was that we didn't get any napkins. I wanted to just melt into the floor and disappear. It's just napkins, Nanny. Ugh, my dad. He can be such a prick if you get his order wrong. It could be fast food or a nice sit-down restaurant. He often yells at wait staff if they undercook his steak. It has to be well done, or he claims to have lost his appetite. One time we went to Burger King when I was younger, and we sat down to eat. He took one bite of his burger, spit it out, and immediately started bitching about it being undercooked. He cut in front of everyone in line to yell at the cashier. Then he asked who was the cook. When the cook appeared, He launched his burger, hitting the poor kid directly in the face. With a lidless burger, he's now banned for life from Burger King. Scene: any fast food drive-thru. Worker: ma'am, can you please drive forward a little bit while your food finishes up? Mom: no. Asterisk folds arms asterisk. When I was 6, my mom took my brothers and I out to Golden Corral for dinner. She went up to the buffet, got a steak, and came back to the table. She's an avid A1 steak sauce fan and cannot, I repeat, cannot eat steak without it. She poured out the A1 onto her plate, tasted it, and was instantly horrified. She proceeded to pour out the Golden Corral steak sauce right next to the A1, and it matched perfectly. Outraged, she called over a waitress and eventually the manager, showing them her little experiment and how she exposed the great steak sauce fraud of '06. My brothers and I were scarred for the rest of our lives. I still have nightmares about it.